welcome to part 2 of Who Am I and Why Did I Make This Framework? Originally, it was supposed to be just one video of me talking about this topic, but I realized when editing my first video that I didn't really tell you my life story. I didn't tell you my experiences and why I made this framework in the first place. The reason why I want to tell you the story is not because I'm important or you should care about my story, but I just want to let you know that we are no different. I'm gonna say this again. I'm a 17-year-old senior high school student in the Philippines, a broke student in the Philippines that still lives with his mom, and I'm not a seven-figure entrepreneur. And I don't claim to be better than you in any way. Like, I might be even worse than you right now because I'm a rookie. I'm a beginner to all of this. I've only been on self improvement for 2 years, but I only got serious 6 months ago. And actually, when I made this framework, I was depressed. I was in my lowest point of my life mentally, right? I was going through a depressive state. I had anxiety. I was addicted to like video games, prawn, social media, and I was doing the right things for the wrong reasons. Like my first YouTube video, I literally said that I don't care about my audience, I don't care about my content. All I care about is making money. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I've learned now that a life without purpose or direction is a unhappy life. I believe that you should have a purpose in doing something, not just for the money, the fame, the likes, or the validation. That's why I made this framework, because this is intended for my younger self. A version of me that was scared, that was alone, that was vulnerable, and wanted to improve himself. So I hope that I could reach you the same way. If you're going through something or you just really are desperate to like get on self-improvement and achieve success and reach your maximum potential, then I believe with how I formatted this course, it will benefit you and you will skip the bullshit, right? Especially chapter one is very important to me. It's a cliche topic, but I believe if everyone was to know about the topic or was more aware about what is happening, then you will have a sense of purpose from that. So moving on, let's get into my life story. And side rant, this is my best looking video by far. Like the lighting is okay. I have a fucking mic right here, you know? And I'm finally recording face like front to the camera. Because if you go to my course, usually my camera's to the side and audio is shit. I didn't have a mic back then. And it didn't come right away. So that's why I just said, fuck it. I'm just gonna make the course anyway. Because rather than waiting like weeks and months before actually starting, why don't I start now with no equipment whatsoever? And I guess it's a good thing because it teaches us to like whatever you want to do in life, just go for it. Like stop being a consumer and start being a creator. Like even if you don't have the best equipment, that doesn't mean you can't start. Like if you don't have equipment for content creation, then just use your phone. Just use your audio from your phone and post content, right? Like nothing is stopping you. If you really want to do it, then just do it, bro. Checks like Nike.
Stop it. Get some
So,
help.
all right. So let's get on to my life story. Again, as you might already know, my name is King Apolinario Tolentino. I am born in the Philippines in Muntinlupa City. And when I was 3 years old, my parents and I moved to the US. And we stayed there for about 7 years. Then we moved back to the Philippines when I was 10. Then that leads up to the present moment. I think it's about 7 years now or eight since I've been in the Philippines ever since. So let's talk about my family. Uh, we're not the most orthodox family. We're not the most normal family, I could say. And before I continue, when I speak about my personal life, when I speak about my parents, I do not hold any hate or anger against them because life happens. And getting on self improvement, I've learned to be grateful for what I have because we're so blinded today. Like, we have the opportunities right now. Like, if you're watching this framework, then you have your own phone or a computer that you're watching through a screen. We have options. We get to wake up in the morning, we get to see the sunshine. I know it's cliche advice, but just look around you and see how fortunate we actually are. I know I'm sounding corny right now, but there are other people that don't have a choice. There are people who are starving. There are people who don't have a choice to live a life that they actually want to live. And we have the choice to not go to school. We have a choice to go to school. We have the choice to wake up in the morning and eat and see the sunshine. That's why I don't hold hatred against my parents anymore. At least before, I was rebellious. Like, I was a rebellious child back in the day. That was only a few years ago, but let's just say instilling gratitude into your life will save you from all the it will just save you your energy. Like, instead of hating, just understand, be grateful, and move on. That's that's advice that I would give you if you're in a situation like that. So we are not a traditional family. I grew up in a second family household. What that means, basically, my dad was 49 and my mom was 27 when they had me. And if you put the pieces together, you might understand what is a second family. Biologically, I'm an only child, but I have half siblings with my father. I have like 4 to 5 siblings, I think. I haven't met them at all, except for one. And they're around 30 years old above, so I didn't grow up with them. Actually, I just grew up with my mom and dad. And I have a half brother on my mom's side, and I'm close with him, but as I said, I did not grow up with him. So let's talk about my childhood and my upbringing. My parents are very um, disciplined. I grew up with strict Filipino parents, normally. In my early years, like from when I was a baby up to like 10 years old, I grew up in a household where my dad was present and my mom was present. I could say I had a happy childhood growing up. I had my laughs, we had our happy moments. But when I was 12 years old, I think, my dad, since we moved back to the Philippines and we had to like sort out our financial problems, my dad had to like go back to the US to support us. And ever since I was 12 up to 17, I haven't seen my dad like in person. I still talk to him on the phone from time to time, but physically, I didn't really grow up with him in my teenage years. Just, let's just say my parents don't have the perfect relationship. They argue a lot. First of all, because they are not together physically. So that is a factor. Second of all, second family. So you can imagine, like, my dad is in the US, my siblings are in the US, like his whole original family is in the US. So you can imagine some conflict there, right? That's one factor. And recently, they've been getting into a lot of disagreements, arguments, right? And there are a lot of times where they were on the verge of separating. And I understand completely. Like, my whole life, my mom was transparent to me. So I really understand the situation. My whole life, I grew up with my mom. Like, she's a household mom. She's a household wife, and it was only just me and her most of the time in one house. And remember, I said I grew up with strict Filipino parents, so it was very hard to socialize. Like, if my friends were to ask me to go and watch a movie or go to the mall or hang out, even, like, I was the one in the friend group that every single person knew wasn't able to go. So socializing was very difficult, especially when COVID hit. Like, my only social life back then was school, like face to face. But since COVID struck, that was completely out of the picture. And ever since, you can imagine what my life was. I did not grow up with a traditional family, so it was kind of hard to, like, have a role model beside me to teach me things. And as a result to that, so naturally growing up with my mother, she wanted me to be comfortable. She wanted me to eat, sleep, like, not get into fights, like, not get into sports too much because I might get injured, all that, right? Like, good boy, you know. And as a result to that, since I couldn't go outside, I distracted myself in the virtual world. I was addicted to social media. I was addicted to video games. I was addicted to eating as much food as possible. Like, I was borderline obese at the time. Yeah, I would just, like, constantly just lay on my bed and just scroll on YouTube, like watch a lot of movies, TV shows, and wasn't really motivated to do anything because I didn't really get to go outside and do my thing. A lot of years in my life, it was like that. I didn't work out, I didn't eat right. As a result, I became soft. I was complacent. I was dist- I was distracted from the world. Like, I'm not depressed, like clinically depressed, but I felt at the time lonely because I didn't really grow up with a masculine figure beside me, like even a brother or a sister. It was just myself in my room. I was just locking myself in my room all day. The only time I would go out was if my mom was with me. So, and before, I was very rebellious. I would talk back to my parents. Like, I'm a respectful child. Don't get me wrong, because they're strict. But at times, I would just have enough and just, like, resent them at the time. Like, why can't I go outside? Why can't I make friends or something? Because I have friends, but, like, they know that I can't go outside. So yeah, I had a feeling. It's called, what do you call it? It's FOMO. Like, I had the feeling of missing out or the fear of missing out a lot. And it was difficult to, like, find myself or, like, improve. Now that you know how I was raised or brought up, I live a completely comfortable life, I could say. My parents love me individually, but as a family itself, it was very difficult to like communicate with the family. I don't question their love for me, but as a family, it's kind of shaky. And remember, I said that they got into a lot of arguments and would have times where they would borderline separate, you know. Okay, so my mom wants a committed romantic relationship with my dad. Right now, I do not think that is possible in the near future. As a result to that, if ever they decide to like separate completely, my mom would my mom would have pride, right? And she wouldn't want to receive financial support from my father if that time comes. So right now, I'm just really getting ready. I'm just preparing myself for the time where my mom separates because the only reason why they're together is because financially. If they split, then we're fucked. So that's why my mom like when she gets to the verge of giving up, she like just takes a step back, takes a deep breath and just keeps going. And right now I'm really tired of seeing my parents argue all the time. I'm really tired of seeing my mom cry or depressed, and I really don't think she got to experience life for what it really is. I want to be successful. I want to provide and protect for my family, my mom, and I want her to experience the finer things in life. And I don't want her to worry about the bills anymore, the rent. Like, she's going through a lot of emotional stress right now, and it pains me to see that. Like, if I could describe it, every single day in the house is just like fights and fights and fights. So that really took a toll on me, especially when I haven't found self improvement yet. So I'm preparing for that. When the time comes, I'm not preparing, I'm actually just wanting to make my own income, at least 5 to 10K a month. I'm aiming for that. And when I make that type of money, that's when I can tell my mom that you guys can like decide if you guys want to split or not. And I would be able to support her financially myself or like be the man of the house. So I'm just mentally preparing for that moment because I'm tired of seeing them like this. And the solution that I see fit is that if I am able to support myself and my mom. And I can't really blame my dad as well because he is 67. Uh, Like right now he's 67 and he's still working. And yeah, I don't want him to work anymore too, so it's for him as well. And so that he could like chill and finally just rest and retire. So that's why, starting from this framework, I'm desperately trying to improve myself and become successful. When I say this with purpose because everything that I'm doing aligns with my purpose. I want to protect and provide for my mom, my future family. I don't want my future family to experience what I've experienced. I want them to grow up in a complete household, a loving and caring household. I don't want them to experience what I experienced. I want to be there for my son and daughter when the time comes. So that's why I'm so desperate to like improve myself. I'm so motivated. Like if I don't move, me and my mom are fucked. You know? And there's a factor of even if they don't have a problem, my dad's age is the problem. Like he's 67. I don't know until when he could still keep going, as sad as that may sound. So either way, I have to prepare for this. And I'm 17. I'm not saying that I'm scared or nothing. I'm it's kind of scary, but I'm also excited for it because I'm 17 already. Next year I'm turning 18, so eventually I would have to get there. It's just an early start, right? And yeah, that is what I'm going through at the moment. That's why I made this framework, and that's why I'm continuing to grow my brand, grow my business, like affiliate marketing, uh, remote closing and setting, and just really trying to make it out, provide. When I was 16, 15, no, 13, 14, 15, 16, I had a girlfriend at the time. And we had a good relationship. But since I let myself go, I was not treating her right. I kept choosing the bad habits instead of fixing our past relationship. Eventually, we had to like go our separate ways. Okay, she broke up. And it was the most respectful breakup, and I understand why she did. And I also wanted us to separate because I knew that I was not treating her how a woman should be treated. So yeah, I'm just really focused right now on my business, like everything. You see the wall? So I really want to make it out and escape the matrix. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 job. No, and I'm not really in favor of going to college. Like I don't want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a professional. I'm really trying to just study entrepreneurship. I'm really starting to study sales, how to communicate, how to lead, how to manage the stock market, crypto market, the real estate market, and my own business. And in the future, I would like to have my own educational platform or info products. So starting from this framework, it's completely free. And when I say completely free, I will always update this framework when I get the chance to. Somewhere in the near future, maybe this framework will be version 10 with the best studio setup, with the best mic, with the best cameras, with better content, with better experiences. But for now, this is what I got, a free framework to solve it. All right? So, again, thank you for listening if you got this far into the video. And yeah, as always, I'm rooting for you from afar. Stay educated, live with the truth.